Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this very beautiful waffle stitch sizable crochet skirt. This is an updated version of the skirt because for our very first version we didn't have any increases. It was just a straight tube which got a drawstring, which wasn't really favorable for some of the sizes, especially those people who have a big ratio between the waistline and the hip circumference. They ended up with a bulge around the waistline. So this is an updated version that will give you a perfect fitting regardless of what size you are, as long as you follow the same exact instructions as I'm about to teach you in this video. In this image, it is paired with the Apricity Crochet top, both the old version, the very first version, and the updated version. So both images are paired with the Apricity Crochet top that you can find on my channel, as well as a written pattern on all my online shops. So I'll be leaving all the details in the description box below. This can be made to any size because it's a made to measure design, and you can be able to follow the instructions based on your measurements in order to make a perfectly fitted skirt, as you have seen at the beginning of the video. So this design has a written pattern already available on all my online shops. You can check the link in the description box below. And this can be made to any length. For this particular tutorial, I first made it in a mini version because that's what my client had ordered for, and then she later on switched to a Midi version. So I'll be leaving all the details of both versions in the description box below if you decide to either make the mini version or the Midi version. And I'll be leaving all the amounts of yarn needed for the two designs, either mini or Midi, depending on what you would wish to make. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you happen to get value from this video, don't forget to leave a comment below. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. Let's jump right into the materials. Alright guys, so for the materials you will need a measuring tape. This is key, and the measurements that we are going to consider for this particular design are the waistline circumference, as well as the hip circumference and the length of the skirt that you wish to make. And then you'll also need a darning needle, a pair of scissors. The hook that I'm using is a 4mm crochet hook. And then for the yarn, 2 stitch markers. I want to talk about this last because it has so many aspects that you have to consider. So the yarn that I'm using for this project is Seagull. It is sky blue, and I used approximately 12 balls of yarn, which is roughly 3,600 yards. So if you decide to use a DK weight yarn that recommends a 4mm crochet hook, you will need approximately 1,800 yards. So just to round it off, just have 2,000 yards for the people using a single strand. And then for this, I used a total of 3,600 yards. So that's a total of 12 balls, and I'm doubling my strand. That's why this turns out to be a lot of yarn to be used for this project. And yeah, what else? This is a 4-ply fingering weight yarn. That's why I decided that I will be doubling my strand, because it's quite thin and it will not be able to bring out the waffle stitch if I use a single strand. So I'll be doubling my strand for this project. And for demonstration purposes, I will be using a DK weight yarn because this kind of reflects light while I'm working. And yeah, I will be using a yellow color in order to demonstrate the stitch, and then later on we shall introduce the actual piece. As you can see here, this is the actual piece that we are working on right now. So let's get into the tutorial. Alright guys, now we're going to grab our yarn and hook, and we're going to start off with a slip knot. So twist over your yarn like this, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through, and then let go of the tail and pull it just like that. Now we're going to start off with a foundation double crochet round. So we're going to make a chain of 2, 1 and 2, And then we're going to start with our foundation double crochets. So yarn over, insert your hook into the very first chain that you did, yarn over, pull through. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's our very first foundation double crochet. So when we are counting stitches, we shall count this one as our very first stitch, not the chain. So that's 1, yarn over. You're going to go into, you see that braid at the base? You're going to yarn over and insert your hook into that braid, into both loops at the base of the stitch. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's our second foundation double crochet. Let's do that again. Yarn over, twist your work so that you see that braid, as you can see here. So insert your hook into that braid, into both loops of the braid, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So that's the repeat for the foundation double crochet round, and this will count as our very first round. So we're going to keep doing this until our piece grows to the length that we want it. So you're going to make sure as you keep growing, our intention is to have this length here to measure our waistline circumference when slightly stretched. So you should make sure that you consider a multiple of 3 for your foundation double crochet stitches. So let me keep building until I get the number of foundation double crochets that I need for my size, and I'll let you know how many that I did. So this is going to create a braid both at the top and at the bottom, and the best thing about this approach is it creates a stretchy sort of feel, and when worn, you can easily be able to pass through this piece, through the hips, and it fits around the waist comfortably, as opposed to starting with a chain. So keep working and I'll meet you back later on when my piece grows to a good length. Alright, so I started off with 102 foundation double crochets, and you should be having an even multiple of 3. So if I divide 102 by 3, it is 34, which is an even number. So when I take a measurement across, I should get my waistline measurement without stretching. So the waistline measurement that I'm considering for this piece is 28 inches, as you can see here. I'm not stretching at all, and I have my 28 inches all the way across. So you should have an even multiple of 3, but you should also have your waistline circumference without stretching your work. Now you're going to make sure that your work is not twisted, and you're going to form a round and slip stitch into the very first, not this one. Remember, the first foundation double crochet is this one. On top there, you're going to make a slip stitch, just like that. And then you're going to get your darning needle and attach the bottom of this opening. Just grab your darning needle and thread it with the tail that you started your row with, and then you're going to pass it through this side like this, and then come back to this side just like that. and then at this point you can weave it in at the back. Just leave it there like that. So this has formed a complete round. This marks the end of round 1. And now for round 2, we're going to make a chain of 2, which doesn't count as a stitch. And you're going to go into that very stitch, into that very hole, and you're going to place 1 double crochet. And then for the next stitch, you're going to place a front post double crochet. This is round 2. Then 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then front post double crochet into the next. 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then front post double crochet into the next. So we're going to repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you back towards the end of the round. Alright guys, we've come to the end of the round, and we've placed a front post double crochet in this stitch, and we have only 1 stitch left, and it will get 1 double crochet just like that. And then skip over the chain 2 space because it doesn't count as a stitch, and then go on top of the first double crochet of the round and place a slip stitch. So that marks the end of round 1, and this is the right side of our work. Round 2, you're going to make a chain of 2 and turn your work, and from now on you should make sure that you're working in the opposite direction of the previous round. So round 2 is here. You make a chain of 2 and turn your work, and then you're going to make 1 front post double crochet into the very first stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the next. Front post double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2, and then into the next stitch you're going to place a double crochet. Then 1 front post in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 double crochet into the next. You should notice that the stitches that appear as if popped on the top of the row get front post double crochets, and then the ones that appear receding towards the back get 1 double crochet. So keep alternating between 2 front post double crochets and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch. That's going to create the waffle stitch on the right side of the work, but for now we are working on the wrong side, or the back side of the work. This is round 3. Because the foundation double crochet was counted as a round, so this becomes round 3 on the wrong side of the work. Alright, so we're almost coming to the end of the round, and we're placing our front post double crochet stitches into the next 2 stitches, and then 1 double crochet into the next, and we have only 1 stitch left, and it will receive a front post double crochet. That very last stitch there will receive a front post double crochet, and then skip over the chain of 2 and slip stitch into the top of the first front post double crochet of the round. So that marks the end of round 2. Round 3 is going to be a little bit different. You're going to make a chain of 2 and turn your work so that you're on the right side of the work. But before we start working round 2, you're going to place your work like this, and you're going to get 2 stitch markers. Just get 2 stitch markers. I'll use the same color. So you're going to place your work like this so that the slip stitch is in the middle of your panel, as you can see here. Just like that. And then you're going to mark the sides of your piece. You're going to just place it flat like this, and you're going to mark this stitch, the one that appears to be a front post double crochet, or you'll be seeing those lines. You're going to mark one on one side and then one on the other side. You're going to mark another one on the other side. I've been counting the stitches so that I can balance both sides. And yeah, this is what we have. I've marked this stitch. So at this point, we are going to increase. We're going to be creating increases for the next round. So you make a chain of 2 and turn your work so that you're working in the opposite direction of the previous row. And then you're going to go into the very first stitch, which is this one, and you're going to place 1 double crochet, and then front post double crochet into the next stitch, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 front post double crochet into the next, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 front post double crochet. So that's the repeat for this until you get to the stitch marker. So we are on the right side of the work and we are working round 4. So the increases that we're going to create for this round are supposed to accommodate our hip circumference. Remember, when we were working the first round, we considered waistline circumference, and this is usually smaller than the hip circumference. So we're going to increase our panel so that it can accommodate the hips. So from here, you do your 2 double crochets, 2 normal double crochets into the next stitch, 1 in this one and 1 in this one, and then the one with the stitch marker, I'm going to show you what to do. You're going to remove your stitch marker from there. This is going to be our increase point. So you're going to go into that stitch with a front post double crochet, and then into the next stitch, which is this one. You're going to place Alright, so after your front post double crochet in this stitch, you're going to go into the stitch behind the front post. That stitch that got the front post, you're going to go into the top of that stitch with 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And then you're going to go into the same exact stitch with the front post and place another front post double crochet. Just like that. And then you're going to go into the next stitch, which is this one, and you're going to place 2 double crochets, and then go back into the stitch with the 2 front post double crochets, and you're going to place another front post double crochet there, just like that. So what we've created is this kind of fun stitch, and it has a total of 1, 2, and 3 front post double crochets. Now you're going to mark the middle front post double crochet. So you have this one, and this one. So you mark the middle stitch, which is this one. And then from here, you're going to double crochet 2 times into the next stitch, and then front post double crochet into the next stitch, just like that. And then you're going to go ahead and continue to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then a front post double crochet. We've gone back to the original pattern until we get to our next stitch marker. So continue to do this until you get to this stitch marker here. Alright, so we're almost coming to the next stitch marker. So I'm placing 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And then in this stitch, which is supposed to get the front post, you're going to remove your stitch marker, and you're going to place 1 front post double crochet in that stitch. And then on top of the stitch with the front post double crochet, which is this one, you're going to place 2 double crochets in there, 1 and 2, just like we did for this side. So from here, you're going to place another front post double crochet where this front post is. So you're going to go back and place 1 front post double crochet, and then place 2 double crochets into the next stitch, which is this one, 1 and 2. And then you're going to go back into the same stitch with the 2 front post double crochets, and you're going to place a front post double crochet. So you have a total of 3 front post double crochets. You're going to mark the middle one, just like we did here, and then you're going to go into the next stitch with 2 double crochets, and then front post double crochet into the next. And then we are going to go back to the normal pattern of 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then a front post double crochet into the next. So these increases are going to be located on the sides of the piece. So go ahead and finish up round 4, and then I'll show you what to do for round 5. So we've come to the end of round 4, and I'm going to place 1 double crochet in the very last stitch, and then slip stitch into the very first double crochet of the round, skipping the chain 2, which doesn't count as a stitch. So this marks the end of round 4. Round 5 is going to basically be round 3 without any increases. So you're going to make a chain of 2, which doesn't count as a stitch, and turn your work. And then you're going to start with a front post double crochet into the very first stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the next. And then start making 1 front post double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 double crochet into the next. 1 front post double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 double crochet into the next. That's the repeat for this round. Keep doing that until you get to your next stitch marker. So we are repeating round 3. So when you come towards this stitch marker, you're going to just continue working your pattern as usual. Sorry, one front post in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 double crochet into the next. Make sure you don't skip any stitch. 1 front post in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 double crochet into the next, and that's the stitch with the stitch marker. So you're going to place your double crochet there and move your stitch marker to the new row, and then continue with 1 front post in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 double crochet into the next, 1 front post in each of the next 2, and 1 double crochet into the next. So let's see what we have on this side. You can see we're still creating the waffle stitch, but we have increases here, and you can see the direction that our piece is taking. We're creating increases. So we're going to go all the way until we get to our next stitch marker, and we shall do the same exact thing that we've done here, continuing with our pattern and then moving the stitch marker onto the new row, and then we shall wind up our round. I'll show you how to do that later on. Alright guys, we've come to the end of round 5, and we are placing our last double crochet into, sorry, 1 double crochet here. We should end our round 5 with a front post double crochet, and we've placed it right now, and we're going to slip stitch on top of the first front post double crochet of the round, just like that. And now we are going on to round 6. Now we're going to keep repeating rows 2 to 5. So the next row is on the right side of the waffle stitch, but it's not going to create increases, just like round 2. And then we do round 3, which is not an increase round, and then round 4, which is an increase round. So for the next round, we are going to make a chain of 2, turn our work, and it's going to resemble row 2. Make use of the timestamps so that you can follow along easily, and you can see how our increases are creating room for the hip circumference. So we're going to keep repeating rounds 2 to 5 again and again until we get this measurement down here to slightly stretch to half our hip circumference. Once you get that measurement to stretch slightly to half our hip circumference, that means this piece will fit you perfectly well. So my aim is to get to 20 inches when slightly stretched, but for now, when slightly stretched, we have a total of 16 inches. So we're going to keep working. So make use of the timestamps and repeat rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 to 5 again and again until you have the base of your panel stretching slightly to half your hip circumference. Alright guys, after round 6, this is what you should have. And now we are going on to round 7. You're going to make a chain of 2, which doesn't count as a stitch. Turn your work, and then you're going to start off with a front post double crochet into the very first stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the next. Now the repeat for this round is 1 front post in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 double crochet into the next. 1 front post in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 double crochet into the next. So that's the repeat for that round. No increases at all. You just keep moving the stitch marker to the next round of the same exact stitch. So finish up round 7, and then we shall come onto round 8, which is supposed to create another increase. We shall increase again on round 8. So first finish up round 7, and I'll meet you back after round 7, and I'll show you what round 8 will look like. So we've come to the end of round 7, and for round 8 you're going to make a chain of 2, turn your work, and this is going to be our increase round. So you make your chain of 2 and turn your work, and you should be on the right side of your work. Then you're going to place 1 double crochet in the very first stitch, and then front post double crochet into the next. And now the repeat for this is 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then a front post double crochet into the next. 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and a front post double crochet into the next. So keep doing that until you get to your stitch marker. So I hope you've been placing your stitch marker in the new rounds. So we're almost coming to the stitch marker, and I'm placing a front post in this one, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then we are at this stitch that's supposed to get a front post. So you remove your stitch marker and then place your front post double crochet into that stitch, and then behind the stitch where you've placed the front post, you're going to place 2 double crochets, and then front post double crochet into the same stitch with the previous front post double crochet, and then double crochet 2 times into the next stitch, and then front post double crochet into the stitch with the previous front post double crochet. So that has created 1, 2, and 3 front post double crochets into the same stitch, and then you're going to place your stitch marker into the middle one, just like that, and then you're going to place 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and then front post double crochet into the next. So what we've done here is creating another increase, just like we have here. You can see that division here of 3 stitches at the same point. So we've created another increase here, and then from here you're going to just continue to place 1 normal double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then a front post double crochet into the next. 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and a front post into the next. So do that until you get to your next increase, and I'll show you just one more time what to do for the increases, the increase point, and then I'll leave you guys to keep working downwards, because at this point you should have understood the stitch. Alright, we are coming to our next stitch marker, and I had promised to show you how to increase one last time. So we are at that stitch with the stitch marker. You're going to remove it and place a front post double crochet into that stitch, and behind that front post double crochet into that stitch that received a front post, you're going to go in there with 2 double crochets, and then front post double crochet in the stitch with the previous front post double crochet, and then place 2 double crochets into the next stitch, a front post double crochet into the stitch with the previous 2 front post double crochets. So you go backwards and place another front post double crochet into the same stitch, and then you're going to place 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and then 1 front post double crochet into the next stitch. And then from here onwards, you're just going to work normally with our pattern, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 1 front post double crochet into the next. Until the end of the round, and I'll meet you back after that. So we've come to the end of round 8, and I'm placing my last double crochet into the last stitch of round 8 and slip stitching on top of the first double crochet of the round. So from here you're going to make a chain of 2, round 9, make a chain of 2 and front post double crochet into the first stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then front post double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches and 1 double crochet into the next. And that is the repeat for this round. No increases at all until the end of the round. So for this round you will end with a front post double crochet, and then you'll slip stitch on top of the first front post double crochet of the round, and then you will keep repeating rounds 2 to 5 until you get your measurement. So let me finish this round. We take our measurement and we see where we are at, and then we shall decide whether to keep increasing or not, depending on the measurement that we'll get after this round. Alright guys, I promised to take a measurement after round 9, and remember I told you you have to keep taking a measurement until when you slightly stretch your piece, you can get half of your hip circumference. So for now I'm at 17.5 inches. That means I'm not yet there. I'm going to keep repeating rounds 2 to 5 until I get that measurement. So we've just created another increase at round 8. I'm going to keep working, and then that means we create an increase every after 3 rounds. So after this one you have this row, this row, this row, and then you create an increase. Every after 3 rounds you create an increase on the sides here, just like you see here and at this point. So keep working rounds 2 to 5, and I'll be back to show you what mine will look like. So guys, I kept working until I got the base of my piece to measure half of my hip circumference, which was 20 inches, as you can see here, and it hit that measurement at around round 12, which was this point here. And then from there onwards I just started working plain rounds without increases at all. Alright guys, we're going to keep working non-increase rounds, back and forth, and we're going to get the length that we wish to get for the skirt. For me, I'm going to first demonstrate the waistband, and then we shall go back to lengthening the skirt, as you'll see later on. Right now I still have a short length, but I want to first demonstrate the waistband of the skirt, and then I get back to lengthening the skirt. That's why I still have this yarn still attached here. That's because I'm still working on the length of the skirt. So for the waistband, you're going to attach your yarn in any stitch. So I prefer to attach it at the back of the skirt. Attach it into any stitch, and then make a chain of 10. This is going to be the thickness of your waistband. So after your chain of 10, you're going to go into the second chain from the hook with a single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the next chain stitch, and continue to do this all the way back to the body of the skirt. You should have a total of 9 single crochets at this point. After your 9 single crochets, you're going to slip stitch in each of the next 2 stitches. So insert your hook, pull through, and then insert your hook into the next stitch and pull through, and then turn your work. Skip over the 2 slip stitches, so this one and this one, skip over them, and then go into the back loop of the next stitch. So we are going into each of the 9 stitches with 1 single crochet in the back loop only, in order to create a ribbed effect, as you'll see later on. So 1 single crochet back loop only into each and every stitch of the waistband. And you should be having a total of 9 single crochets, all placed in the back loop, just as we have for the first row. The first row also has 9 single crochets. So you're going to make sure you maintain the number of stitches, the number of single crochet stitches for the waistband, so that you can have a very straight look for your waistband. So for row 3, you're going to make a chain of 1, turn your work, and single crochet back loop only into each and every stitch. After this, you're going to slip stitch in each of the next 2 stitches of the skirt. And then turn your work and single crochet back loop only in each of the next 9 stitches, or whatever number of stitches that you have for your waistband. So we are just going to repeat rows 2 and 3, 2 and 3 all the way around the waistband, the waist opening, in order to create a waistband for our skirt. Chain 1, turn, single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch. So you're going to repeat that around the skirt opening, and this is what you'll get. You can see the waistband, and as it keeps growing, it continues to create a ribbed effect all the way around the skirt opening. So keep going all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the beginning of the waistline opening when I've gone all the way around the skirt opening. So we've made it all the way around the waist opening, and on your very final row, sorry, I still have to do one more row here. I'll make a chain of 1 and work towards the body of the skirt, placing 1 single crochet back loop only, so that I close up this gap entirely before I start joining the 2 panels together. Okay, so at the end of the row, you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, pull through, and then you're going to get your darning needle and thread the chain that you just left behind. And we're going to attach these two sides together, the waistband opening. You're going to join them together using a darning needle. So you just go stitch to stitch. All right, just like that, we are through, and you're going to push your loose end onto the wrong side of the skirt, and make sure all the loose ends are on the wrong side of the skirt. The side that doesn't create the waffle stitch is the wrong side of the skirt, or the back side. And then you're going to go ahead and weave the tails in. All right, so we're done with the waistband of the skirt, and I also went ahead to increase the length of the skirt until I got the length that I wanted. So I have a total of 30 rounds altogether for the waffle stitch, as you can see here. And the total length of my skirt is approximately 14 inches, including the waistband. But you can go as long as you want or as short as you want. Alright guys, as I had mentioned, you can make this skirt to any length. I decided to make it a midi version because my client kind of changed her mind last minute and she wanted something a little bit longer than the mini version. So she wanted something past the knees, and this is what I came up with. I ended up doing a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. 35 times 2, a total of 70 rounds of the waffle stitch, guys. This has been a very hectic project, but we are finally here. Now we're going to go on to our very final step to make sure that the upper bit of our skirt is perfectly fitted. So once you consider measurements, these projects will forever fit perfectly well. We're going to go onto the elastic strand that's supposed to be attached at the top of our skirt in the waistband. Now, to attach this, you're going to get your waistline circumference. For my client, that is 33 inches. And I have an elastic strand that is 8 inches less than her waistline circumference. As you can see, we are at around 25 inches, just leaving room for the knot that I'm going to tie. So 8 inches less than the waistline circumference. So once you get the elastic strand that measures that, you're going to join it. If your elastic strand is thicker, then you're going to just use a sewing needle and sew it together at the end to create a round. Something like this. Make sure your knot is very secure because you don't want this elastic band to break when your client is putting on her piece. So this is what we have. As you can see, it's much smaller than the circumference that we have here. So I'm going to get my hook and my yarn. All right, so we're going to make a row of single crochets all the way around the top opening of the skirt while weaving in this elastic strand into the top of the skirt. So we're going to go into it any row at the back of the skirt. You can see this is the seam line at the back of the skirt. That's where I'm going to attach my yarn under the elastic strand, pull through just like this, and we're going to start creating a single crochet in each and every row all the way around, just to clean up the top part of our skirt, but while working around the elastic strand. So I hope you can see exactly what I'm doing. This is going to ensure that this skirt can perfectly fit our client. And also to give us an elastic waistband, which is the best. I feel like it gives the best look for crochet projects, better than a drawstring, unless you're going for the drawstring look. So I'm going to go all the way around, working around the elastic strand and weaving it into the topmost round on the edge of the skirt. Alright guys, we've made it all the way around the opening of the waistline, and at the end you're going to just slip stitch into the very first single crochet of the round, just like this. Make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, and then you're going to get rid of the loose ends the best way you know how. You can use a darning needle, you can just make a knot. I prefer to just make a knot at every point where there are 2 loose ends, and then at this point you can go ahead and cut off your excess yarn, and this is going to create an elastic waistband, and you can see the increases on the sides of the skirt and then the length. So that marks the end of this tutorial, guys. If you enjoyed this one, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to check out the written pattern on all my online shops. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
But I would spend a lot of time helping you grow and build a business. Okay. Tina, I think you're a smart young woman, but you need some help. $500,000